Welcome to Wealth Echelon, your go-to spot for smart investing, in-depth ETF insights, and book reviews that help you build wealth. On this channel, we explore everything from the best investment strategies to the latest trends in ETFs and provide valuable takeaways from books that can transform your financial journey. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced investor, our goal is to give you the knowledge you need to make informed decisions and grow your wealth. If you're ready to elevate your financial game, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell for updates on all our latest content. The Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, commonly known by its ticker symbol SCHD, has earned a reputation as one of America's most beloved dividend ETFs. Investors are drawn to its blend of simplicity, quality, and generous dividend payouts. Many believe SCHD to be a set-it-and-forget-it investment, a passive, rule-bound fund that silently compounds wealth in the background. However, the truth about SCHD's operation is far more complex and dramatic than most realize. Beneath its calm, predictable exterior lies a ruthless machine that makes cutthroat decisions about its holdings every single March. These decisions have resulted in both brilliant victories and glaring missteps, shaping the fortunes of its investors in ways most are entirely unaware of. This is the untold story of SCHD's biggest wins, its painful mistakes, and the mechanical rebalancing process that defines its existence. SCHD is not a traditional, actively managed fund where managers make judgment calls based on economic forecasts or corporate news. Instead, it follows the cold, formula-driven methodology of the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 Index, which selects stocks based on strict financial criteria: strong free cash flow to debt ratios, high return on equity, ROE, robust dividend yields, and sustainable dividend growth. These factors are measured mechanically without emotion, bias, or foresight into future market conditions. Once a year, usually in March, the index undergoes a brutal rebalancing process. During this time, stocks that no longer meet the high standard are summarily purged, while new ones that pass the screen are welcomed into the portfolio. This seemingly simple procedure has enormous consequences, as the market itself is never static, and the outcomes of these rules-based decisions can differ wildly from investor expectations. One of the most notorious examples of SCHD's rebalancing drama came in March 2021, a period that could easily be dubbed the COVID dividend massacre. Over 20 companies were expelled from the index in a single sweep. This purge was driven largely by pandemic-driven financial stress and dividend cuts that disqualified former giants from the portfolio. Among the most shocking removals were Boeing, Disney, and several large banks. The move to dump Boeing turned out to be prescient. The aerospace giant, battered by the dual blows of the 737 MAX crisis and the pandemic-induced collapse in air travel, went on to suffer another 26% decline after SCHD had sold its shares. Similarly, GE, another former titan of American industry, was kicked out of the portfolio before enduring further hardship and declining share prices. In these cases, the rebalancing machine protected SCHD investors from greater pain, proving the value of strict adherence to financial quality. But this ruthless formula is a double-edged sword. Not all of SCHD's sell decisions have been victories. One of the fund's most costly mistakes involved Wells Fargo. The beleaguered bank had been mired in scandal and poor performance in the years prior to 2021, and it failed to meet SCHD's rigorous criteria during that March rebalancing. The fund sold its shares near the bottom, locking in losses. What followed was a painful irony. After SCHD sold, Wells Fargo's stock rebounded strongly, soaring by nearly 30% in the months that followed as the bank recovered and the broader economy improved. Investors who had stayed in the stock saw substantial gains, but SCHD's formula forbade such patience or foresight. This episode illustrates the risk of letting mechanical rules, not human judgment, dictate investment decisions. SCHD's machine-like objectivity has also led to premature exits from some of America's best-performing stocks. A glaring example is Microsoft. Once a reliable dividend payer with solid metrics, Microsoft's fast-rising share price eventually caused its dividend yield to drop below the threshold required for SCHD inclusion. As a result, the index sold its Microsoft shares early in the company's monumental growth run, missing out on what would become a five-fold 5x increase in value. In this sense, SCHD's greatest flaw is exposed. The formula can disqualify companies simply because their prices rise too fast, causing yields to shrink, even when the underlying business remains extraordinarily strong. In other words, SCHD can be forced to sell winners because they win too quickly. On the flip side, SCHD's reliance on backward-looking financial data can cause it to hold on to losers for too long. Paramount Global is a cautionary tale in this regard. Once a respected media conglomerate, Paramount's financial metrics, based on historical cash flows and earnings, appeared acceptable even as its business prospects deteriorated in the face of cord-cutting and digital disruption. SCHD held on to Paramount longer than was wise, as the company's fundamentals decayed faster than the index's formula could detect. The result was prolonged exposure to a stock that steadily declined, dragging on SCHD's performance. This example shows the risk inherent in a system that responds only to past data while ignoring forward-looking threats to a business model. Perhaps the most revealing question to ask about SCHD is this: what if it didn't rebalance at all? What if the ETF had simply held its original collection of stocks without any annual adjustment? The answer is startling. Without its yearly purges and additions, SCHD's portfolio would likely resemble a graveyard of failed or stagnating companies. Boeing, GE, Wells Fargo, and other past holdings might have continued to weigh heavily on returns, while the fund missed opportunities to add new rising stars that passed its screening criteria. Academic studies and historical simulations suggest that a failure to rebalance could have cost SCHD investors as much as 20% to 30% in long-term underperformance. This reveals a paradox. While the rebalancing process inevitably leads to some mistakes, like selling Wells Fargo too soon, the alternative, no rebalancing at all, would be far worse. This realization highlights a truth that surprises many investors. SCHD is not as passive as it appears. Although it is an index fund, the formula it follows forces it to make what are essentially active investment decisions once a year. When the rules say a stock must go, it goes, no matter how beloved or promising it may seem. Conversely, new stocks that pass the criteria are brought into the portfolio whether they have investor fanfare or not. This annual reshuffling means SCHD is effectively placing active bets based on a strict set of rules, not unlike the decisions a human fund manager might make, except without emotion, bias, or opinion. Investors who view SCHD as a sleepy, passive fund may not realize just how much change and turnover happens beneath the surface every March. One quirky result of this rebalancing is what some observers call the ping-pong effect. Certain stocks, like Merck and Broadcom, have been bought and sold multiple times as they fall in and out of the index's criteria. For example, a stock's dividend yield may fall as its price rises, causing it to be removed from the index. Later, if the price drops or dividends increase, the stock may requalify and be added back. This buy high, sell low pattern may seem illogical, but it is the natural outcome of a system that mechanically enforces strict inclusion standards each year. The ping-pong effect reflects the reality that no formula, no matter how well designed, can perfectly time every market move or capture every nuance of a company's trajectory. And yet, this heartless machine may be exactly what investors need. Emotions are the enemy of good investing. Human fund managers, no matter how skilled, are prone to bias, overconfidence, fear, and greed. The SCHD formula has no such weaknesses. It cannot fall in love with a stock or cling to a fading brand out of nostalgia. It cannot panic in a market crash or become euphoric during a bubble. It simply follows the data, ruthlessly and without hesitation. This discipline ensures that SCHD avoids the worst behavioral errors that plague actively managed funds. While its strict adherence to rules results in occasional mistakes, like selling Microsoft too soon, its mechanical objectivity ultimately protects investors from the far greater risk of human misjudgment. The genius and the flaw of SCHD's system is that it treats all companies as replaceable parts in a machine. No stock is sacred, no holding is permanent. This brutal approach may offend those who believe in long-term loyalty to great companies, but it also explains why SCHD has delivered consistent returns and rising dividends over time. By relentlessly enforcing quality standards and purging the weak, SCHD maintains a portfolio of financially sound, shareholder-friendly businesses. Even its mistakes, like the Wells Fargo sale, are the price of a process designed to protect the whole, not the individual parts. In the end, investors must accept that SCHD's rebalancing process is both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness. The formula that drives the fund makes decisions that no human manager would dare make, selling rising stars, holding fading names, or abruptly purging beloved giants. These decisions, made by a cold and impersonal algorithm, can seem baffling or even infuriating to those watching from the sidelines. But they are necessary to preserve the integrity and long-term success of the strategy. Without this mechanical ruthlessness, SCHD would fall victim to the same errors that plague many actively managed funds: favoritism, indecision, and the inability to cut losses. For investors who understand this reality, SCHD remains a powerful tool, a disciplined, rules-based approach to dividend investing that combines the benefits of quality stock selection with the consistency of a mechanical process. Its mistakes are visible and sometimes costly, but its long-term performance suggests that the formula works more often than it fails. The key is to recognize that SCHD is not truly passive. It is an active machine dressed in passive clothing, making quiet but consequential decisions each year that shape the future of its investors' wealth. So, is SCHD's rebalancing genius or flaw? The truth is that it's both. Its formula ensures high-quality holdings, but sometimes forces out winners and clings to losers. Its cold discipline saves investors from emotional mistakes, but occasionally costs them market-beating gains. Ultimately, SCHD's methodical, mechanical approach may be exactly what long-term investors need, even if it occasionally breaks their hearts. The next time March arrives and the rebalancing machine awakens, investors should remember, behind the calm exterior of SCHD lies a brutal, unsentimental process that will do whatever it takes to keep the fund strong, even if that means making hard, uncomfortable choices along the way. In this way, SCHD's story becomes a lesson in the trade-offs that all investors must make, between rules and flexibility, between process and instinct, between data and intuition. Those who can accept the machine's heartless logic may find themselves well rewarded in the end, but those expecting perfection or emotional comfort may be in for a shock. SCHD is not the simple, quiet dividend fund many believe it to be. It is a complex, evolving system, one that demands respect for its power, its flaws, and its relentless pursuit of quality above all else. Thank you for watching Wealth Echelon. We hope you found valuable insights that will help you on your investing journey. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Keep building your wealth, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to check out our other videos for more investing tips, ETF strategies, and book reviews to continue growing your financial knowledge.